Okay, Trevor Walsh here from The Truth with Trevor, and I am going to go over how I put my helmet together. My helmet set up with my GoPro Hero 7 Black and my Sena S20 Evo. I don't know how it's going to work with all the Sena devices. Some might be different than the one I have, but anyways, I spent probably, oh my goodness, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, probably 150 hours, 200 hours of a couple weeks watching every video, researching and reading everything there is to do of how people have meshed their GoPros with the Sena. And this is, of course, due to the fact that for some reason in the 21st century, where we can almost land people on Mars, GoPro doesn't know how to put Bluetooth in their cameras. #1 action camera company in the world, and they don't know what they're doing. I guess they're just stupid, but honestly, we all know the truth. They're doing it on purpose. There's probably some competitive deal behind closed doors. Maybe they don't want to work with Sena or any motorcycle company to put out or make it easier on people, so people have to splice wires, buy all these contraptions and gadgets and adapters and the GoPro audio adapter and everything. So anyways, let's get right into it. I'm going to keep this video pretty short. I don't want to make it too long. So some of the stuff that you can find online already on how to do this kind of stuff, I'm going to just go over in the body of my video down below. I will include every single part I used and the link for it on Amazon. Hopefully one day GoPro actually figures this out and adds Bluetooth, and then you wouldn't have this problem, because all you would have to do then is the Sena would be the audio pickup for the Bluetooth for the GoPro. They would just simply connect. It would work in 10 seconds and you would have no issues. And then GoPro would automatically record everything that your Sena picks up. And your Sena, if you're using a Sena, which for this video, the purposes of this video, we are using a Sena S20 Evo. The Sena is your source. In other words, the mic inside the helmet is what picks up you talking, the headphones inside, and I'll show you mine that I did in a second. Those are also part of the source. So everything that the Sena does, whether it's a phone call, whether it's the intercom, whether it's just you talking, moto vlogging, whatever, all of that goes through the system as the source and ends up going through the adapter for GoPro, and then ends up in the GoPro as an external mic input for the GoPro. So the GoPro captures the video content from what it sees, and I'll show you the settings I use too, and then it captures the audio through this other system that we put together. And from everything I've seen, I have not seen a better setup than this, and that's because I looked at pretty much every video out there, and I spent a couple weeks looking and reading and everything out there and how to do it, and this seems to work pretty good. It doesn't mean it's the only one out there that works. I'll still be looking at what other people have done and everything, but as of right now, I think this is probably the best way to do it. That's clean, works properly. So here's what my helmet, and I'll attach some pictures too, but here's what my helmet looks like. It's a Shui GT Air. I don't think it really matters what kind of helmet you use, but anyways, that's just what it happens to be. You see right there, there's my GoPro Hero 7. I have a chin mount right there that I got on Amazon. I can of course fold the camera. And everything. So really quickly, I'll show you this. So I'm going to get into this in a second, the mount that I use. You can do that any way you want. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But you can see this adapter right here, which is this is the GoPro adapter. which I'll show in the parts list. You have to have this. You cannot get around this. If you try to use something else, it will not communicate with the GoPro. The GoPro demands that this chipset that's inside this adapter is the same, or they will not have a proper protocol handshake. They will not communicate. You'll have nothing but problems. So don't even attempt to go sideways or skirt issues because of saving $10 or something. It won't work. Just don't do it. You have to use the GoPro adapter. It's $50 pretty much, no matter where you get it. You might as well just get it on Amazon because it's not any cheaper anywhere else. So anyways, this plugs right into the side. You can also power this all the time, so that this all stays powered all the time when you're running it. If you see the other, you probably can't see from here, but there's another plug on the back of this that powers everything. So you can actually run a power cord to maybe a separate little power pack. That way your GoPro and everything stays charged, and you can run it, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours without having to change batteries, as long as you have a large enough SD card, micro SD card. And I'll get into which one I run. I use the 512 gig card, so I can record up to like 16 hours at 4K at 24 frames per second. And then from here, I use double stick 3M tape, which I'll put that in the parts list. Attached it to the helmet. It was solid. And then I put a little JB weld, where you can get it at any hardware store. It's about $9. Mixed it together, epoxied around the edges of it, and then put some gaffer tape around it just to make it look a little cleaner. And then down here, I just kind of tucked it all in underneath. I had all this apart. I put it all back together now. You can see there's just nice and clean inside. No wires, no nothing. If you look right here, I actually cut little slits for where my adapter goes, so that this little thing that protects helmet, but your mic from getting more wind noise and everything. It keeps your helmet a lot quieter inside, keeps your mic a lot quieter. So I just cut little slits instead of having those go around and cram this thing, like that. I wanted it to be still operational, so I cut little slits right there. And that's about it for that stuff. And then let's get into the parts list. Keep it simple. And then there's the Sena S20 Evo. I would assume that most of the Senas, I haven't looked at all of them, but they probably all have the same configuration where they have a headphone jack out, in the front or on the side or something like that. So this one has the charging port back here. And then I wanted to show you one other thing. I think it is in the front. Anyways, on here is right back here is an auxiliary advanced port. Don't use that. It's nothing you can use, and it's nothing you want to waste your time with. So in the front of this is the actual headphone jack, and it's a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to take this out because I've already put it all together, but out of the front of your Sena, you have that little 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is a standard headphone jack. You're going to use a TRS. TRS stands for tip, ring, sleeve. That's the kind of headphone jack it is, and I'll show you that in a second. So you're going to use a splitter that goes one male into this female. The female is on the Sena, so this is a male fitting right here. Goes into there, and it comes out to two females. That's, of course, TRS. And then out of that, you have one that goes to my new HD speakers that I put in my helmet. So I took the other ones off the Sena, and I did that by simply, I can't show you all this perfectly, but there's a tiny screw that you can unscrew. You don't have to take the whole bracket off. There's just a tiny screw right there. If you see that little hole right there, I don't know if you can see it. Anyways, that's where the headphones were when it came stock. All you have to take is that little screw out right there, and then the whole little plate comes off, and you can pull out the headphones. And then just leave that blank. You could cover it with epoxy or something so rain doesn't get in. But I don't ride my bike in the rain, so that's up to you what you do. Then it would seal it back up. But once you plug something into the headphone jack of the Sena, at least the Sena S20 Evo, and I believe all of them operate this way. Once you plug it into the front, it will automatically disable the headphones that are attached to it. So you might as well just unconnect them because they will not ever work again. So once you plug in the headphone, you'll have that splitter. One of the splitters, they're both females, one of them will go to your headphones, which I just bought some, and I'll show you the parts list. I just bought some HD high-end helmet speakers with a 3.5 millimeter TRS end, and that plugged into one of the splitters, which was female. And then out of the other one, I went right into a short little adapter that was just a male-to-male TRS adapter, and it went from the splitter into the back of the GoPro module. And then from there, right into the GoPro. That's my setup. Works perfectly. It works with the Sena powered on. It will capture audio of me talking. It will capture audio with the Sena turned off. The mic, obviously, through the Sena has a direct path electronically without any of the circuitry in the Sena affecting it. In other words, the Sena can be completely powered off and it will still capture whatever you're saying in here, pass it through the Y into this feed into the GoPro, and the GoPro will still capture you talking, and you can have the Sena turned off completely. I've tried it both ways, and I'll link my last video I did where I did a ride, and I played with it both ways so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. And I'll do more, obviously, so you can see what it's like. But I think it's a little bit better with the Sena turned on. And the one thing you're going to experience at the start, and you can't avoid this from what I've seen, is you're going to get a little bit of weird noise, like noise injected into the signal path, almost like a ground loop or engine noise or something like that, if you're familiar with 12-volt electronics or anything like that, like car audio. It's a staticky hum kind of noise. It seems to only last about maybe 5 to 20 seconds. Here's what I think it is, and I haven't heard anyone explain it any differently than this, so I could be wrong. But from everything I've researched and looking at Sena and talking to the people at Sena and looking at their literature and GoPro and everything else, GoPro has their own noise canceling software that is absolutely spectacular, top notch, and it's software. It's written in code. Sena has their own noise canceling software, top notch, written in code. These are two different companies that don't really like each other. They don't like to cooperate. They don't like to share ideas. And there's probably the reason why GoPro doesn't offer Bluetooth on their cameras is because they really don't want to work and make life easier on Sena. So they would just rather do things themselves. And if you want to set up like this, you're going to have to figure it out on yourself after, a bunch of homework. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it looks like. Two companies that just don't really like each other. Who knows? But anyways, I think for the first 5 to 20 seconds, it takes the two software codes, it takes them a while to handshake and develop a protocol where they can talk back and forth and realize what they're doing, because they're trying to cancel everything. And I think they're trying to cancel each other and all the other noise. What you'll see on my one video is you'll see I have a bunch of noise for about the first 10 to 15 seconds, and then it immediately is gone, and it's perfect. And that's pretty much what happens. I don't know if there's a way around that. Some people are putting like weird filters in line and stuff like that. I just think it's a noise canceling issue between two different companies, and they don't handshake properly. And within the computer world, IT world, you have to have handshaking of protocols and different software packages. Otherwise, they just don't operate. So anyways, that's kind of how that all works. Filters really quick. Let me see where I put that so you guys can see that. Also recommend these ND, N as in Nancy, D as in dog, ND filters. I'll put them in the parts list down below. They're inexpensive, but you definitely want to, if you're going to ride a bike and you want to do any type of video contents, especially motovlogging or anything like that, you definitely got to have these because otherwise you're not going to be able to set your video settings properly. So I run, this is a 32, and let me show you how it goes on really quick. Couldn't be any easier. See that little tab? The only tab sticking out from it, you can see right there. Okay, so that tab goes on the outside. It literally goes just like that. There. That's what it looks like. And you're set to ride. The 32 is set for very sunny days, no overcast, no clouds, nothing like that. It works spectacular with the video settings I'm about to explain to you. The 16, which is the next step down that I have in the kit, you can get lots of different kits. The next step down is the 16. 16 is spectacular for days that are partly sunny, partly overcast, maybe taking a ride through, you know, a lot of overcast and some trees and shady areas and stuff like that. And then there's an 8, and there's also a setting. There's also a filter you can get for use on boats or around water, because water treats light very differently. It will create a lot of glare and stuff like that. And if you use a GoPro, which a lot of people watching this video, you probably have had a lot of experience using GoPros. You know, using them around water is spectacular. It's a great area to use them with, but you got to have a filter, otherwise you get really bad video. So anyways, the settings on the GoPro, so let's go ahead and look at those. So on the back, you have the little thing on the bottom right there, and then you have this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through all this. So just, this is where you start, your back screen. You click on the video settings, which tell you what you're recording at. You click on that, you're gonna have video settings. Resolution frames per second. I have mine set at 4K, 24 frames per second, and the rule of thumb is whatever your frames per second is, you should have your shutter speed be double that. So since I have 24 frames per second, I'll get into the shutter speed in a second. FOV is super view. You can use that or wide. You can try out what you like. Stabilization, I keep on auto. Pro Tune is on. If you have Pro Tune off, that's the first thing you need to do is turn Pro Tune on. Otherwise, you cannot adjust these settings. So the first thing you need to do is turn on your Pro Tune. Then you can adjust all the settings on video. So 4K, 24, Super View, Low Light, NA, Stabilization Auto, Pro Tune on. Shutter speed is 1/48, 1/48, because 48 is double 24. EV Comp, NA, White Balance Auto. ISO minimum 100, ISO maximum 800, Sharpness low. You do not want anything more than low. GoPro just doesn't do a good job with sharpness, especially with correcting video content. Color flat. You do not want GoPro trying to adjust your color. You can do that post-production. Raw audio off. Mics stereo. And then that's it. That's all the settings. You're set to ride. I mean, you do all that, put on your filter. Once again, you have the little thing there, like that. See? Goes out there. And now that I have the camera off too, I can show you these two. You have there's where the GoPro adapter plugs into right there. And so it's ready to go. If I want to do some riding with me talking and vlogging and everything while I'm riding, then I will either power off the Sena while I'm riding, or I will turn off my music and keep the phone connected to the Sena, but just have no music and no intercom going. And that way my GoPro is recording everything it gets into from the source being the Sena. Okay, so I hope that answered a few questions. This is really a complex subject matter. I mean, it should be easy, but it's just not. I don't know why GoPro has not put Bluetooth in their camera, but hopefully one day they do. If you have any questions, throw them down below. I'll try to keep up and answer them best I can. Like I said, I have a good, I bet you I have 150, 200 hours of research into this. Partly that's due to my OCD nature, and I'm a freak when it comes to researching things, and I'm a crypto trader, so it's just part of my nature, man. I do a lot of research before I pull a trigger or anything like that, and I wanted to do it right. Money wasn't an issue. I didn't care if I spent a couple $100 or a couple grand. I just wanted it to work and work properly. Problem is that at this point in time, 2023, August, this is the only way I could see that you could actually do this and end up with a really high quality video and audio content using a GoPro, which is the best action camera, and a Sena, which in my opinion is the best use case for a helmet. So thanks, guys. Throw any questions down below and I'll try to answer them the best I can, or get an answer for you.